I've played plenty of Metal Gear. I still don't understand the story of Metal Gear, but I know stuff was happening. I know stuff was happening.
Yeah.
He might be a mad genius, but he's
Maybe he also made Kingdom Hearts. Who knows?
I've floated the idea of something I wanted to do mostly on Titanium Mine, but I've been talking about giving some games some second chances. And second chances are not something that all of us usually get in our real life, but I do like to think that there are some games that are deserving of giving them a second look. I don't know if that's something you've done in the past.
I have occasionally. I think when I went back and tried Eco again
Oh, okay.
a
Yep.
couple months ago, and I was like, still no.
No. Now, to be clear, you mean Eco, E-C-O, not Ico, I-C-O, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what Ico is, so yes.
Team Ico? They created The Last Guardian and Ico. And then also Shadow of the Colossus. That was like their 3 games.
Oh, yeah, no, I meant the game Eco.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, I tried that. I've tried a couple things. I occasionally go, maybe it got better. Maybe with fresh eyes, this game doesn't suck like I thought it did.
Right. Historically, the one that I went back to was Remnant, which I did not like when I first played it at all. And went back, played it, and really to this day think that it's a great example of like a Souls-like. And I think that's the reason why I wanted to be able to give a few other games that same sort of treatment. And it's unfortunate because sometimes you'll play games and you're like, this should be good. You know, this should be great. I feel like this really should work and I should like it. But whenever you play it, whether it's your mindset or the way the game presented itself, you just bail on it.
Yeah. Sometimes sometimes on paper it sounds fantastic, like you with Midnight Acres.
Oh, it sounded like a great idea, and then it wasn't. And then it just wasn't.
Execution is a lot.
Yeah, exactly. More recently, Breathage. Because you were playing Breathage, I thought it's a good opportunity to go back to that, because I did not play it very much. That was another one, where it was like, you know, everything seemed like this should work. And I just did not, I bailed on it right around, actually, interestingly, the time you bailed on it this time, where it asked you to open all the coffins.
Yep.
That was the first time I played it.
Yeah.
That was right around the time.
Well, it's one of those things. It's, you know, the premise can be neat, in this case, Breathage. The premise was,
Yeah, I mean, the premise was essentially, hey, wasn't Subnautica cool? We could do that in space.
With lots of tongue-in-cheek humor.
With lots of tongue-in-cheek humor, yes, a much different tone to it as well. And in truth, it's a fine enough idea. In practice, it has its issues. The thing is, though, that I'm glad that I went back and played it again. One, because I had kept thinking about it since I had played it originally, and kind of go, was there something there? But also, the reason why I think it's very interesting is because I couldn't really verbalize why it didn't work for me until I went back. I had even forgotten that I had even done a Titanium Mine episode on it before.
No.
And I did a revisit essentially for Space Ember. But at first I was like, wait, did I actually do an episode of this? Yeah, 2 years ago when I played it before. Some other games though, I wanted to just explain a few of the other games that I planned on doing second chances for in the new year. One of them was, I don't know why I didn't like it. I think I got bored, but it was Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is one that some people consider one of the greatest games ever made. I've heard people literally say that, and I understand the sentiment. When I played it originally, though, my thoughts on it were, I'm lost, I'm bored, I don't know what's going on.
Now, are we talking the one you were like, you should get this one on Epic because it's free the other day, or are we talking the one that is set in a 22-minute timer?
The 22-minute timer. You're thinking Outer Worlds, which I did very much like because it was because it was an Obsidian RPG. And
yeah, well, that's why I was asking. They're so similar in name that I get them confused.
We have like a couple letters difference in them.
Yeah. I haven't played Outer Worlds. Which one are you talking about?
Wilds. Wilds.
I have not played Outer Wilds, but I've seen someone do a playthrough of it, and it is really interesting and cool. But at the same time, like seeing someone do a full playthrough of it, like a let's play of it, I can't play it.
Right, because now the exploration element of it isn't
Well,
really...
not even just the exploration element, the entire story I know, and
Right.
all the things and how to do things. It's not like I have to figure it out because I've seen someone else do it.
That's the tricky thing too about Outer Wilds, is that on the one hand you want to be able to play it, you want to be play it blind because it's supposed to be about exploration and discovery and learning how the systems work. But at the same time, when I tried doing that, I got, like, real confused, and I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and I feel like seeing someone play it would be helpful, but then it kind of ruins the whole nature of the game and exploring it and discovering it. So I'm, like, between a rock and a hard place. Maybe I'll try to get some pointers about what to do.
Did you see
where to go.
the Daryl Talks Games video about Outer Wilds?
I think so, yes.
That one's pretty good, where he goes, it's not really a game, but it is a game.
Yes,
it's really interesting. I think thematically and everything they did in it is really good. And then the ending is really good.
Yes.
But like, I enjoy the concept, but would I have enjoyed it playing it? Who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that there are these games that I personally think are really great that they exist, and I'd want to like them. You know, I think that's the thing. I want to like the game, but I can't find a way to, and then I just give up.
Right.
Which is,
I think,
why
in the case of Outer Wilds, if you can't play it, if you find it that you're just too confused and it doesn't click with you, I would actually suggest watching someone do a playthrough of it. Not so you can then go play it, but because the story is really interesting. Yeah.
At least to get the appreciation of, like, what it was doing. Because there is the possibility, as I've found, that there can be really great games that you just don't like.
Souls-likes for me as a whole. Dark Souls, for instance. I have listened to tons of stuff about the lore of Dark Souls.
Yes.
And it's really fascinating and it's really interesting. But the games aren't for me.
And the thing is that I've played so many Souls-likes, and a lot of them are good. Some of them are usually pretty high up on my tier list for, like, the end of the year list. I know one in particular is going to be, like, probably in the top 3 this year. I have occasionally thought about going back to Dark Souls, too. Like, just to say, I did try it the once. I got angry at the game. So either, like, Dark Souls or Demon Souls, which has been even longer for me and had an even more controller throwing fit. That might be something that I go to. Maybe not, but something from Software. I'm planning on doing Elden Ring on stream, so, you know, we'll see how that works.
And we were talking about earlier, I have recently acquired Armored Core 6.
Right, which we're going to have to talk about at some point, because it's...
Which I'll have to compare to MechWarrior 5.
Oh, perfect.
So...
Yeah, because again, that's one of those studios, like, as a whole, that I have found myself with a really contentious relationship with the games. Maybe because it's not for me, but at the same time, the genre is something that actually appeals to me, so I'm kind of in that weird space between. A couple other ones, though, that I wanted to mention was Death Stranding. I tried Death Stranding.
I think I have it on Epic. I haven't tried it.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I've played a good portion of Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima is another one of those cases where he is it's hard to say that he isn't a genius when it comes to design, or when it comes to storyline, because I don't understand half the crap he's doing half the time.
Yeah, just look at Metal Gear, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. I've played plenty of Metal Gear. I still don't understand the story of Metal Gear, but I know stuff was happening. Yeah. He might be a mad genius, but
Maybe he also made Kingdom Hearts, who knows?
Yeah, that's a whole other dude that did that one. You know what? Actually, I think I'd love to see Hideo Kojima do Kingdom Hearts 4. That would be amazing.
They should have done Kingdom Hearts mixed with Metal Gear Solid, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of Disney.
Metal Gear Hearts.
Anyways.
I love it. Anyway, but yeah, Death Stranding is another one where a lot of the early game is about delivering as much cargo as you possibly can and traversing the landscape. And I was just getting to the part where it kind of started talking about, like, the larger story and the entities that are around there and everything, and that there was combat and that there was fighting and stuff going on. And I guess I just had lots of other stuff I wanted to play, and I was like, do I really care? Like, that was kind of where I was at. Like, okay, I got the bike now, and I can carry stuff on the bike, but realistically, is this going to be the majority of the game? And I'm kind of curious to go back and see if it is.
Yeah, that's one of those things. When a game takes a long time to introduce the fun elements into it, it's kind of like, could you not have, like, started with that?
Right. So that's one that I think is going to be interesting to go back to see, like, well, if you just give it a little bit more time in the oven, is it not just trying to figure out how I'm putting all these ladders down and ropes and stuff, and you know, is there... It seems like there's a larger story you're trying to tell. It may be very, very interesting. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be understandable, but, you know, interesting is one of those things. So, that I'm planning on doing. Another one that's on here I wanted to mention was Metro Exodus, because I played the previous Metro games, and I did play Exodus for a little while. I didn't really get through the first chapter, but it is very interesting in being this open-world version of an Exodus game that has essentially no HUD around. Like, all of the information is done contextually through the game to be more immersive. I think I just ran into a few issues with that where I started to get a little lost as to what I was doing in that first chapter. I got through a few of the story beats, and then they kind of leave you to your own devices to figure out the storyline. I ran across some ruins, and there was, like, these electrical orbs that were all around it. It killed me a couple times, and I was, like, going, I'm gonna put this down and maybe come back to it later, and I never did. And so I'm thinking about going back to that, because you're on a train in that game, and it's supposed to take you through, like, chapters. So you've got, like, open world areas, and then when you can get the train moving again, it goes to the next area, and the next area, and the next area. And I'm kind of curious as to what those are. I think that they're actually themed around seasons. Anyway, I want to go back and try that one. And then the other one, and this might even surprise some people that I would even attempt this.
World of Warcraft.
No, I've gone back to World of Warcraft a couple times.
You have not.
Okay, that's a lie. It just feels like I played for as long as I did, and I had dropped it for like a week and came back, and
it doesn't count.
That doesn't count. No. World of Warcraft. We'll see. I'll put it on. I'll tell you what. I'll put it on the list.
I mean, it's free to play up to level 20 now.
Here, I'm putting it on the list. In real time.
You can at least see how different the game feels gameplay-wise, whether or not you care about the story or anything, if you do it, so...
Yeah, I don't even remember what my old account was, so I'm gonna have to just create a new character, but that's fine.
Well,
I don't remember
it would be whatever your Blizzard account is, so...
Oh, can I find that?
Who knows?
Who knows? It's been so long, again. But anyway, yeah, it's a possibility. No, the one that I was thinking about is the one that last year I said was the worst game I played from the year.
Balan Wonderland.
I did not play Balan Wonderland because I knew I was going to hate that. But no, it was a game called Little Witch in the Woods.
Oh, right.
Little Witch in the Woods, which I did have as the worst game that I played from 2022 when I did my best to worst for that year on Titanium Mine, and the big problem that I had with it is that it is so slow, and it's not even slow in the way that you're like, oh, it's taking some story beats and trying to build up, the character development and stuff. No, I mean, like, it's literally slow. It took me over a minute to get from one side of a screen to the other side of the screen while I'm using stamina to increase my speed. And I'm like, why? Why does it take so long to do everything? And I eventually got to I guess it's the potion house, which you're supposed to be able to use to make the potions. And they give you the task of, well, before you sleep, you have to go and clean up the cobwebs. And I had to clean up the cobwebs, and after every single one of the cobwebs, there had to be this giant dialogue box about exposition, about where the little witch in the woods is at in her life between the cobwebs getting cleaned up, and I'm just like, come on, guys, can we get to the game at some point?
Yeah.
So I think that they've probably patched some of that. I'm hoping that they've solved some of those problems, and I would like to go back and see if it has fixed the issue. Because, again, in theory, this should be a game I like. It's like a cozy game. Seems like it's maybe a little Stardew Valley related, a little bit like that. Should appeal to me.
Mm-hmm.
If I could ever get to the part where you do that stuff.
Yeah.
Which would be great. So, I have other ones that are on my list, but those are a few that I wanted to highlight as to reasons why I was going back to them, the reason why I wanted to do it. And
makes sense. Should be fun to talk about, too.
Oh, yeah. I think it's going to be fun, because this time my main goal is that when I go and play them, that I play them further in than I did the first time.
If you can.
If I can, and with the goal of essentially like finishing them if possible. That is the point. Yeah, to be able to finish them if possible. The key here is that I need to go back to them to find out what happened that led me to not play through them, and hopefully get a better analysis of whether this actually does work and I just wasn't in headspace for it, or if it really just isn't good, like if it just doesn't work at all. Because a lot of them, it could either be that I wasn't in the place where I wanted to play it, which is, that's another one that I should do, Pentiment, which I know is a good game, but I just didn't want to play that kind of game at the time. It's hard to argue with a game that is done in such an interesting style, but it's a narrative game, but it's also done by Obsidian, and it's like, and got so much acclaim for being what it was. But anyway, that sometimes I just don't really want to play that kind of game, and then sometimes it's that it really needed improvements, and I don't know if the company went back and did that. So,
who knows? Exactly.
So, at any rate, those are some of the examples that I wanted to give of doing second chances this coming year. That is going to be my resolution, essentially, for the year, is to go back and play those kinds of games and see if they work. And we'll see how it works out.
Hopefully, something to talk about if not, or even if so.
Yeah, exactly. One way or another, it's going to be an interesting story to tell, to see if any of this is good. Are there any games that you have considered going back to recently that you kind of dropped?
I guess one of the games that I was just recently, because I got it for Ray, looking at and going, I could play that again and probably enjoy it, maybe, was Shadows of Doubt.
Yes.
And that wasn't so much I dropped it because I didn't enjoy it. It was just I wasn't feeling like playing a, logic deduction game at the point, and I haven't picked it back up since.
Yeah. That came out recently, didn't it? Wasn't it just
that came out this year.
Okay.
But like that one's like, even she's playing it the other day, and she's like, I'm not sure if I like it or if I don't like it. Like, some of these things I don't like, but the overall game I do like. And then she's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, it's different. It's hard when you have games that are just outside your wheelhouse, like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's just not something you typically play. Mm-hmm.
I don't really make resolutions so much because I don't ever follow through with them. But part of my plan for this year is to try and find games that are out, not necessarily in my wheelhouse, not necessarily games I would typically play. For instance, Vampire Survivors that you got me, not a game I would typically play. Have already put like 8 hours into it, and it's been fun.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that in more depth on a later episode, but yeah.
But like, one of the things I was thinking about, the reason I want to do this, and one of the things I was thinking about was that, I'm 36 now, and so I grew up playing Yeah, like Command and Conquer and stuff on the PS2,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And over the years, I've kind of stuck to similar styles of games a lot
Yeah.
for some of it, but not always. And
Mhm.
I find it really hard now. Certain games don't appeal to me as much.
Sure.
So, like Colony Sims, City Builders, love-hate relationship
Yep.
with them. I want to love them, but at the same time, most of them have zero story.
Mhm.
Timberborn, for instance. Interesting game, great concept. I thought it sounded cool. No story. That tides me over. I don't
Right.
need much of a story. I need something
Something,
to
yes.
give me a reason I'm doing the thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
Farming sim.
Mm-hmm.
I've put probably over 100 hours in that. Played with Crave a bunch.
Oh, yeah.
Played with you on stream.
Oh, we broke the physics of that badly.
Yeah, we broke the physics. Like, part of the game is really fun and satisfying, but there's no objective. It's a sandbox game.
Yeah.
There's no story. Give me a little story where I can start a farm, small plot of land that my family owned, and then expand to an empire. Give me something that's not just a lack of a fail state, aside from taking out loans.
Yeah.
Or like not selling things. Like, I need a little bit more than that. Actually, a game I want to talk to you about that I have been playing, Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you've played it.
No, I hadn't.
But one of the things I want to talk about later with you is lack of fail state. So
yeah.
it's one of those things. I want to try and find what games I enjoy now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's changed over the years, and I haven't really done much reflection on that because I don't really do a lot of reflection on or analysis of these things. But so
Sure.
part of the thing I want to do this coming year is I want to play games, just whatever games, essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I can buckle down and do it and try stuff and see if there's games I do like, see if there's genres and games I don't like. Who knows?
Yeah, and it's again one of those things where, like, I would usually love to have those open world games that are like the big sandboxes, and I don't know, I thought, I'm stepping away from that a little bit too, not doing as many of those because they felt kind of just like messing around, and I don't always have the interest in playing those sort of games anymore. I think what happens is that, you start to get older, and as you get older, you start like thinking about maybe there are two kinds of people, I guess. There are people who get older and they get set in their ways and they like what they like. And then there are people who get older and they say, "Hey, what a great time to expand my horizons and see what else is out there." Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do because, again, Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
I was like, man, not really my type of game, and then I played it and I'm like, I can see why people like this. I can see what makes this enjoyable, what makes it cathartic. I can see all the little things that they do that make it feel like a loot box extravaganza without the loot box extravaganza.
Exactly. No microtransactions for the loot box extravaganza.
And I like, for instance, am a fan of roguelites.
Oh yeah.
So,
and it does have some elements of that too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and Vampire Survivors wasn't even a game I thought that I'd like,
Right. I feel like a lot of people are like, what the fuck is this? Bought it, and then we're like, oh shit, this is great.
Yeah, this is something. I can't stop playing now. What's happening?
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah, no, I think that it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that over the course of the year. Hopefully everyone will check back and we'll talk a little bit more about our experiences, but especially with doing some second chances. Let us know. You'll probably see the full things over on Titanium Mind, but I'll likely talk about some of the mechanics of it over here, not just talking about the game itself, but talking about some of the things that I found in them.
Yeah.
I'll probably be discussing over here. So.
And if you have any games that you're giving a second chance this year or anything of the sort, feel free to let us know down in the comments or let us know over on our Discord. We are more than happy to talk about games, second chances, and anything else like that.
Yes, and of course, if you like this or you want to see more content like this, remember to like and subscribe. Did the little button do the thing again?
You're just obsessed with the little button maybe doing
that
thing.
I just want to know, when I say subscribe, is there a little, like, rainbow circle that generates right around the subscribe button?
Let's look in the corner. I don't know if I'm mirrored or not.
Moom. There we go. Okay. Success? Question mark.
Question mark.
Okay.